All right, I'm assuming I'm doing it. I'm assuming I'm doing it. It's actually a little hard for me to tell on these things. It's like it gets started and then it's just not quite sure if it's ready. So, if you could help me out with this, if you could let me know if you can hear me. And I will and I'll probably just dance until you tell me that you can see me. If there's somebody out there. Oh, good. Hey, Victoria. I was about to have to dance. I was about to feel real sorry for everybody that had to then watch me dance. So I appreciate you letting me know that that was not necessary. That was about to get ugly. Okay. Glad you're here. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. This is Neva Lumison Memorial Library. I'm the manager here in Carrollton at the library. Fantastic. Thank you, Victoria. I forgot to ask. The manager here is on my end. The video is frozen. On your end, is it frozen? I mean, it's like thinking real hard. It's a brand new laptop. It should work fine. Now, yes, of course you do. Of course you do. I don't know if the other day, is it playing the video? It looked like it just died. Did it just die? I can't tell. Hold on. I'm going to refresh. This could go horribly wrong. Oh, I don't know. It says that I'm live. It says that I'm sorry that this is so. Oh, hi. The other day I was I don't know if Victoria were here, but there were no patrons. We were in sort of one of those moments of respite. No patrons, so I went to the restroom, in the women's restroom right up here in the front. You know, everybody's sitting in a circle doing their circle-like things, sorting books and such. And I come out and they're like, "Was that you?" I'm like, "Did you hear someone singing It's the Letter of the Day from Sesame Street really loudly in the bathroom to the mirror?" They were like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, we heard it all." It was fantastic. Great. That's very, very mom thing to have happen. Anyway, so if you want to know what the letter of the day was, that day it was E, and I sang it loudly. Okay, so today we're talking about binge-worthy books. I do the binge-worthy books a lot. I love talking about books, giving recommendations. What happens is I ask the staff on some kind of topic that kind of goes with our theme. We did a fall reads one. We did a horror one that was kind of like horror and like true crime. Actually, I think that was a quiz, but sort of same thing. Just sort of get invested in books a little bit more. And just kind of let y'all know what's out there. And so this is the beginning of the year-ish, and I think already people are feeling like it's going to be a rough one. They're just feeling like, oh, I had all of these plans, I had all of these ideas, and I just don't know how to get kickstarted into it. If you'd watch, Mandy's did a tutorial on goal setting earlier. She did that at about 5 o'clock. Kind of focused a little bit on younger people to kind of help people do goals for the first time. But she has a worksheet. It's really clear. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some goal setting programs that we have later in the month, later on. So that's kind of what we're doing is to give y'all a kickstart to kind of get back into it, especially if you're feeling a little sluggish towards reaching your goals. So what I asked the staff, this was really interesting. I asked the staff, what are some inspirational / motivational reads? That's all I said. And I got weird responses. There was kind of an uncertainty about, like, I don't know, what does that mean? I don't really read, self-help books. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for what inspires you. And the result of that was this really sort of creative burgeoning of creativity from the staff, that things that I would not have thought of as inspirational, but that absolutely are. So even if you're not really into the self-help genre, this is still a great program to check out. Checking to make sure that no one is talking to me. We're good. Okay. Alrighty. This happens to be a genre that I really enjoy on a certain level. I specifically like entrepreneurial self-help. So when we get to mine, you're going to see kind of the more standard stuff, and we're going to start with the less standard stuff. But it actually says a lot about our staff. Actually, all these picks make me think of the people that I love on staff and why I love them. So I think we start with Mandy. Let me see. Oh, I did want to say, if you have goals set out and you don't know, you're like, oh, I can't get to the gym. The gym is full of germs and I'm supposed to not be doing germ things right now and I just can't do it. Listen, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that out of y'all because we have something for you, okay? We have yoga weekly. We have meditation bi-weekly. We got you covered. Oh, I don't really know. I can't really get into my art. We have weekly craft packets for kids, and then we have different kinds of craft packets for adults. I think we're doing like a quilting one. We're doing a vision board one. We got crafts coming out of our ears. In fact, we make about 100 packets a week. And people just take them. And so no excuses there. We have makerspace videos. If you're like, oh, I want to get into some techie sort of stuff, we got that. We got book clubs. Please join our book clubs. They're awesome. I run the Thursday book club, which is more like just whatever. There's a lot. We just sort of make a list and we're like, that sounds great. And then we read it. But there's also a mystery book club and those ladies are fantastic. We're going to have entrepreneurial focused events coming up. We have bilingual story times. So you're like, oh, I've always wanted to learn more Spanish. Okay. Well, the good place to start would be with picture books. Trust me on this. And Gila is amazing. So every other Saturday we do that and you can watch the videos later if you can't catch it live and work on your Spanish. You got goals. We got you covered. And if there's something that you want to learn, you want to know more about, you want to do more reading in the new year, I can help you with that too. Okay, just let us know. We're always here. We practically live here. I'm in the library right now. Don't worry, I already ran up and down the aisles in the dark like 4 times, just living out everyone's fantasy of being in the library alone after hours. That's what I'm going to go do it 6 more times before I leave, just to feel like I've covered my bases. Okay, let me make sure that no one is. I'm not on the page where people are chatting to me, so I just want to make sure that I'm up to date, totally up to date. Okay, here we go. Next page is, I want to talk to y'all about a couple of things that we have coming up. So really excited about this. Lauren Holverson is going to talk about this book, Everything is Figure Outable. I'm reading it right now. It's really great. It's actually pretty well written. Sometimes you read these self-help books and you're like, so you're a blogger and you don't know what you're doing. Not so. Marie Forleo really is a genuine writer. She does a really good job. And it's kind of her business. And she has a lot of goal setting. It's very practical, especially in the middle. Lauren Holverson, though, is going to do this, and she's going to do, that's going to be the first thing that she does with us, January 27th at 7 p.m. She's going to kind of talk about the book, give you an intro to it. But she's going to do a bigger event with us, social media marketing tools for small business and nonprofits. And if her name isn't familiar to you, she used to run the Burson Center, which is the small business incubator here in Carrollton. So she did a lot with it. She sort of coordinated. She's worked with a lot of local nonprofits, a lot of small businesses. That's kind of her specialty. She's kind of a tour de force, this woman. So I highly recommend, if you know someone who wants to start a small business, is doing a small business, and needs more tools to grow their business, she's definitely the one to talk to, because she understands entering the business realm, entering as a nonprofit. You don't have a big fund base. She's going to be able to address that. So highly recommend that. And actually in the description of this event is a link to the Eventbrite for this. And Eventbrite conveniently will poke you. It'll be like, hey, you've signed up for that thing, so you go do it now. So that's really why I would recommend signing up for Eventbrite, because if I didn't have my calendar ding me, I would have forgotten to do this. So there you go. This is actually a whole list of what we have going on January and February that has to do with entrepreneurs and goal setting and all that. We have this tonight, and we actually had something earlier, but since it already passed it and put it on the schedule, I'm going to check that thing again and just see. Okay, hi people. There's actually folks in here, which is exciting. I don't mean to sound surprised. It's just everybody's doing things at night, and then their Facebook pops up, and then they come see me. It's great. So the 2 that are in blue are the ones that are kind of the big events that I would recommend. So one of them, I'm going to actually make a vision board and kind of slowly go through Marie Forleo's goal setting process, just about sort of making those dreams. And I am a chronic skeptic. I'm just I'm just a heart of stone kind of lady. And if I tell you that goal setting works, it really does. I'm not hokey. It takes a lot to get me on board of any. I'm just not sentimental. I'm just not sentimental. So if I say that it works, I promise you, it works. Okay, so join me for that. It's gonna be fun. All right. The staff picks. Okay, here we are. The meat of the event. So Mandy's up first because I liked her picks. So this should tell you some things about Mandy. Mandy is sort of socially conscious and is really has a kind heart. I feel like very thoughtful about both looking at herself and looking at others and sort of a global perspective. Love these things about Mandy. So she recommended Big Girl, How I Gave Up Dieting and Got a Life, and The Underground Girls of Kabul. So let's see. They write down little blurbs for me so that I can remember what I'm doing. The staff does a lot of things to help me remember what I'm doing on the daily basis. Tea. Hold on. Tea break. I'm actually a Slytherclaw. I just want that to be clear. I'm mostly Slytherin, a little bit Ravenclaw, Slytherclaw. But my husband wants me to be a Ravenclaw, so the mug. Okay. Body positivity is not just a new fad. It is a stepping stone on a path to loving yourself for who you are. In Kelsey Miller's memoir, we see her struggle with the society and industries that teach women to hate their bodies throughout her life until she decides to stop listening to everyone else and start listening to herself. So Mandy says, this book inspired me to look at myself and others in a whole new way and to listen to my body with less judgment and more understanding. She's also an excellent listener in general. So highly recommend just calling Mandy up. I do it all the time and just being like, Mandy, I need to talk. She's like, I'm here for that. Let's see. So in The Underground Girls of Kabul, the lives of others have always intrigued me. This is Mandy saying that me is the me here. This book charts the lives of multiple women in Afghanistan who live differently from others of their gender in the area, while examining their own history and the parallels to subversive actions of people living under oppression everywhere. Their perseverance and ingenuity in the face of adversity is truly inspiring. I actually want to read that. That makes me want to read this book. So this one might be on my to read and 2021 list. Let me just. I don't know what a Griggenclaw is. Are you a Griggenclaw? Are you a Gryffindor Ravenclaw? Hi, Kaylee. Hello. You're in here. You're in here, by the way. Thank you for responding to my email. You were the first one. You don't work here anymore, but you were the one to be like, let me recommend some books. Let's see. Okay. This is not Elizabeth. This is Bree. Yeah. So Bree was one of the people, she's like, I don't know about inspiring. And I'm like, oh, I think you do. And then she's like, here's all the books. So The Running Dream, she recommends that she was a cross-country runner in middle school. So I liked it for very obvious reasons, but I also love that the main character never gave up. So it's like Soul Surfer, but for runners. So The Running Dream. She's a big fan of C.S. Lewis. This is her second C.S. Lewis pick. Miracles is a sequel to Mere Christianity, and it offers such profound insight to how we live, how we view things that are miraculous. It stretched me academically, but also gave me a new way to think about what a miracle really is. And see, that's what I'm talking about. So these are different ways to think about inspiration and motivation, and a lot of it is about perspective. That's what I noticed from the group that I got, was changing your perspective really can change everything. And that was kind of my beautiful revelation from asking the staff these questions. That's why book recommendations, love it. Okay. The Alchemist is a classic. The Alchemist tackles love, faith, and the meaning of life. Oh, and she actually selected readings from it for her wedding. And that's only a slight exaggeration. It's a mythical and interesting read. So I know a lot of people love The Alchemist, and he has a new book, and it's not very long. It's only about 120 pages. It's on my cloud library list next, I think. So I'll be reading that. So if you are a fan, there's a new book for you, and it might be a good way to jumpstart your 2021 reading list. Because we actually have it on the shelf. It's not checked out right now. I have no idea why. It should be. It should be gone. Oh, I'm frozen. How about now? I'm going to type it in. Is it better? I'm not sure if I should keep talking or not. This is the awkwardness of streaming. I feel like my husband's a teacher, and I feel like he's just constantly talking into the void whenever he has whenever he has to do these classes, because occasionally I see him teach online, and it's just like, oh man. I mean, high schoolers are a rough crowd in general, but they're a super rough crowd if you're trying to live chat to them. So let me go back over here. Not frozen anymore. We did it. Okay. So these are Bree's picks. If you haven't met Bree, you're going to love Bree. She also has started doing a lot of our graphic stuff. She's a graphic design student, young person at the university. So very happy to have her for as long as we have her. All right. Hannah's picks. Oh, good. These are great. Hannah actually reads a lot of motivational books like myself. So these are her more inspirational picks as opposed to sort of like habit forming, which she has a whole other like list for that. Great person to talk to. She does a lot of our makerspace stuff. So if you want to know about that, or if you want to know about sort of strategic thinking and systems thinking, she's a good person to talk to about that. So she recommends Good Morning, Good Night. And you can't see the title. My face is in front of it. Hi. But it is by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Who knows what else Lin-Manuel Miranda has done? This is a quiz. Quiz time. This is why my live streams are longer than everyone else's. And they're like, what are you doing? Anyway, I'm going to let y'all figure it out. I'm not going to move my face. This is where my face lives now. And the other one is Keep Going by Austin Kleon. These are great. There's actually a couple of these. Oh, Steal Like an Artist. It's on. I can read. Steal Like an Artist is another one that's like this. And what it is, it's a book. It's only about yay big, and he's kind of a graphic artist. So there's just these little tidbits of wisdom in a graphically interesting way. It's kind of black and white. It's very stark. These sort of just nuggets of wisdom. So it's really great for just getting you to the next thing. Okay, I'm going to read a nugget, and okay, I'm over that hump. So they work really well for that. Well, that's my opinion. Let's see what Hannah said. This book is short chunks, but it also has good concrete tips for different things to keep your creative practice going. And I really like that about this book. This is one of the first ones that when I was finishing my PhD and kind of needed something to motivate me into the next project because I was tired. This book actually helped me through that. So I recommend it for that. So did we get, sorry, I have to flip back. Is it Hamilton? Lin-Manuel Miranda also wrote Hamilton. Thank you, Kayla and Victoria. And I don't know. He may have worked on it. The person who wrote Rent passed away before Rent opened on Broadway. I don't remember his name though. Anyway, where's it going? Yes. So Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is, a lot of people are reading this. Good Morning, Good Night. Little pep talks for me and you. And we ordered a copy. I'm not sure if it's coming yet, but there's lots of copies around. It's a pretty popular book, and it's not new, so you can get it through the library system. Okay, what's next? Oh, this is Lynn Holt. Lynn Holt often sits at the front desk. Many of you know her as, he wrote the music for Moana too, which I love. Now that's in my head. I can't get it out now. So Lynn Holt. You may know Lynn Holt as she who gets you your books and makes sure that your Pines experience is most excellent. Lynn does that, totally does that. She also reads a lot of true crime. So if you're looking for true crime, she's the person to talk to. She's also an artist, a very talented artist. Whenever anybody comes in and they're like, man, who does all these really cool hand letterings on this chalk stuff? It's Lynn. And she didn't tell me that. I knew her for like a year before she was like, oh, well, I can kind of draw. Oh my God. She can very much draw in all sorts of mediums. It doesn't matter. I'm not bitter about it at all. So now I make her do lots of things. She's doing projects for me right now. And she's enjoying it. I hope. She told me she was. I make her draw all the things. And she recommends drawing with the right side of the brain. And so I can read what she said. Okay. It's not only a great instructional book, but creatively inspiring as well for anyone from those who don't pursue art because they can't draw a straight line. No one can, to the professionally trained artist. So she specifically thought of this book, and we have it in the collection, even though it's a little bit older, because it can get you out of a creative slump. So it teaches you different ways to think about drawing, different ways to think about rendering, that's inclusive to everyone, but that can also inspire you to keep going with your practice. And that's a lot of what we're talking about, is just different perspective in order to keep going, right? Let's see. Okay. What's the next one? Kaylee G. Hey, Kaylee. Kaylee G recommended the Wayward Children series. So this is, see, I told you. I just said inspirational, motivational, and these are the things that I got. But actually, the reasoning, it really makes sense. I was like, I don't understand. But first of all, there's the sense of exploring something new, because it's a whole series about exploring something new. But Kaylee G recommends that this is a book to get you out of a reading slump. And you know what? I don't think I printed out your blurb, but that was my takeaway, was to get you out of reading slump. So it's a whole series. I think we're on book 6. And then she has a whole bunch of other books. I mean, this is not just the only thing she has. Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. But they're about, it's a fantasy series of like a home for children who have gone on a magical adventure. So it's kind of like Alice fell down the rabbit hole. She comes back from the rabbit hole. What's she do then? I mean, that's a big experience. What does she do with that experience? You know, you go through the looking glass, you come back, you're a changed person, and it's going to be really hard to assimilate to normal society once you've had that experience. So a lot of these kids end up in a home for kids who have walked through a door that they should not have walked through. It's a fun little series. And they're all from different perspectives. One is like a candy cane kind of world. One is under like a sea world, and one is like a Frankenstein kind of world. So something for everyone a little bit. And they're novellas. So if you're in a reading slump, these are great to get you right on out of it. I think that the Alchemist might be a good one for that too. Martha Wells series is a good sci-fi version of that. The novellas of that. Yeah, those are good. Those are novellas I would recommend. This Is How You Lose the Time War is a novella that I would recommend for that as well. So I'm going to see if y'all are talking. I just narrate everything I'm doing because this is part of the live streaming course. Yeah, I've actually listened to them all. The audiobooks are really strong as well. So we have them all on Cloud Library, I think. So highly recommend that. This is Earl Grey. And Mandy says it smells like Fruit Loops. And I don't know why, but that sort of crushed my heart. I was like, it's not Fruit Loop tea. It's fancy Earl Grey tea that makes me feel like a fancy lady. She's like, well, it smells like Fruit Loop. Anyway, I'm not over it. Okay. Next, what do we got? Okay. This is, I'm sorry. My face is in front of the word Victoria. Hi, Victoria. So did not plan. That happens every time. I always think I'm going to get out of it, and I do it every time. So, The Prince and the Dressmaker is a relatable storyline. This tender tale of friendship and identity, inclusiveness, and self-acceptance. The book's main theme of self-acceptance will motivate anyone to be themselves. See, I thought that was a really nice take on the. Victoria and I talked about this a lot, and I feel like that's a really nice take on the theme. Like that is, a lot of people are motivated by sort of not a memoir, but just that sort of lived experience, right? That can help us be more comfortable in our own skin if we see that. And I actually feel like I've seen this book building quite a bit. Is this an everybody reads it read? Is this what everybody's reading now? I feel like it is. But yeah, I thought that was a good take on the question, right? That's why I try to leave it kind of vague, you know? Oh, and the other one is The Little Book of Mindfulness. Fast, easy, accessible way to start mindfulness. This is Victoria talking to me. There are a lot of theories on mindfulness, and there are a lot of readings out there that talk about the ideology much more. However, this is a great one for on the go. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's not about what you know, it's about just practicing mindfulness. That's a very good, you know what? I didn't read that last sentence when I put it out. That's a good, I like that. Thanks, Victoria. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next. Oh, this is me. This is me. So I overdid it. Surprise. Okay, so this is Jason Reynolds. This is his book, For Everyone. And I always say, oh yeah, I know it's that Jason Reynolds book. That's a short book of poetry. And they're always like, The Long Way Down. And I'm like, no, that's not the one. I have read The Long Way Down, but it is not inspiring. It's like, it's not. That's not the point of that book. Yeah, so I'm going to put these papers over here so I don't get confused. I did, because I didn't want to read. So it's a really short read. I mean, I think I read it in an hour. It's just poetry. This is for everyone. But it's about following your dreams. So it's actually, I would recommend this book if you know someone that's graduating, you know, those quintessential books that you get someone when they're moving on to a big new step in their life. This is the one that I would recommend. Y'all tell me if you think that's true or not, if you've read this one. He also wrote Ghost. Jason Reynolds did. He's written a lot of things. It's not, y'all remind me the thing that he wrote that's really famous that I'm not thinking of right now. That would be great. Anyway, I was just going to read a little bit so you get kind of the feeling of it, okay? Your dream is the mole behind your ear, that chip in your front tooth, your freckles. It's the thing that makes you special, but not the thing that makes you great. The courage in trying, the passion in living, and the acknowledgement and appreciation of the beauty happening around you does that. Let's see. Dreams don't have timelines, deadlines, and aren't always in straight lines. Is another quote from this book. So you kind of get the feeling of it. And I am, already told you, not sappy. Not sappy. I'm basically made of stone. I hear that a lot. I'm in the Myers-Briggs personality test. I'm an INTJ, which means that I'm a super villain. But that's, I'm not going to take it personally. It's because I believe that, like, my core personality is that logic trumps everything and everything needs to bow to it. Apparently that makes me a super villain. Didn't know. So if I say that at the end, it's like, yeah, that's got some impact. That's got some bang. That I have some feels. There's feels. Okay. And that it works. It works. It's a really great book to just have around and be like, man, I can't do anything today. I watched the news and now my day is done. And you're like, I'm going to go visit with Jason Reynolds for a minute and get back on track. It's good for that. Let me see if y'all thought of the title. Nope. No one thought of the title. All right. So the other one, the next one I have is The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. And we have this one on audio. And it's kind of a breezy, it's not that long, but this one is interesting. It's Power of Secret Identities. What Todd Herman does for a living is he works with people who work in high pressure situations, many of them sports stars. And he has these tactics for creating alter egos, like, say, the Black Mamba, right, is a very famous example of that sort of alter ego. So that when you're on the court, whatever your court may be, you can sort of take on this persona and be that person, right? That person you need to be. So for me, it would be All-American Boys. Thank you, Victoria. Jason Reynolds wrote All-American Boys. Okay. So for me, it would be coming to work. Maybe I'm giving a big presentation at work. So I would, do these very specific totemic practices to get myself in the right space, and you perform better. And that's sort of, he's seen that a lot, especially in he's worked with a lot of tennis pros and golf pros, because it's not just that it's a high pressure situation. It's that the pressure is on these very pivotal moments. This one toss becomes everything. These really, really powerful moments become everything. And it's really hard to perform at your best under that kind of pressure. That's a specialty, but it works for everyone. It actually also works in reverse. He works with people who work in, say, the military. You have to have one kind of personality in the military. And so he gives an example. He had a client who was having a hard time leaving that personality at work, right? He was a drill sergeant, and then he had kids, and you can't be a drill sergeant to your kids, right? So he had sort of reverse persona situations where he sort of took off his drill sergeant hat. I mean, it was a literal hat, actually. Took off that hat and put on his dad hat, and then he's like, I'm dad now, right? And just, we're very susceptible to these sorts of things. These sorts of performative acts really mean something. Okay. The last one this is not the last one. Y'all are in it for the long haul. So, but the last one that I'm going to recommend at the moment is Big Magic, by Elizabeth Gilbert. Who knows what Elizabeth Gilbert has written? Okay, I'm going to go and see if you guessed. It takes a minute to catch up. So this is a good time for a dance break. Dance break. Dance break. And you just let me know when you think you have the answer. I kind of feel like you're going to intentionally not think of the answer so that I have to keep doing this. Okay, and we're doing it. I'm doing it. Y'all are going to not do it on purpose. I'm going to have to do it. All right. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote what? It's right there. On the... There's people out there that don't want to say it. You know what? I'm just going to read an excerpt to you while I'm waiting for someone to come up with the answer. Because, I have all these sheets of paper. Why do I have notes? I have so many notes. Oh my gosh. Okay. She's talking about this is kind of the intro. She's talking about an author who she really respects, who has a very strange trajectory. He'll go away for long periods of time, come back with poetry, and he's famous, and then he goes away and he doesn't get so he's teaching a class. He's actually talking to a shy University of Tennessee student. That's what it says here. And his name is Jack Gilbert. Jack had taken her aside. He complimented her work, then asked if what she wanted to do with her life. Hesitantly, she admitted that perhaps she wanted to be a writer. He smiled at the girl with infinite compassion and asked, do you have the courage? Do you have the courage to bring forth this work? The treasures that are hidden inside you are hoping you will say yes. And that's the end of the quote. So this, I believe, is the central question upon which all creative living hinges. Do you have the courage to bring forth the treasures that are hidden within you? Look, I don't know. This is Elizabeth Gilbert talking. I don't know what's hidden within you. I have no way of knowing such a thing. You yourself may barely know, although I suspect you caught glimpses. I don't know your capacities, your aspirations, your longings, your secret talents, but surely something wonderful is sheltered inside you. I say this with all confidence because I happen to believe we are all walking repositories of buried treasure. I believe this is one of the oldest and most generous tricks of the universe plays on human beings, both for its amusement and for ours. Okay. Here's the thing. Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, everyone, and The Signature of All Things, which I have read. I have not read Eat, Pray, Love. She is a little hokey, right? She's definitely like call upon the universe and wonders will appear sort of situation, right? But she writes really well. She writes really well. And Big Magic is for all kinds of creatives, so it's not just for writers. And there are a lot of books that I've read that I'm like, well, this is just the cheesiest bit of cheese. I can't be in the same room with this cheese. It's too stinky. No, this is good stuff. I promise. Just stick with it. It's really good. It's the one that I'm like, everybody's like, what should I read next? I'm like, Big Magic. It's Big Magic. That's the one. And so I get a little excited about it. And I didn't know that what Elizabeth Gilbert had written before I read it, which just makes me a bad library person, but I didn't. It was a long time ago. Anyway, it actually inspired me to write a lot. And I've written, it's probably, I'm going to credit 200,000 words to this book worth of different kinds of, and City of Girls. That's right. That's how inspiring this book was to me. So get to work, right? Get to work. But I want to, did I click the right button? Okay. I also wanted to look at Elizabeth. So this is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is new to the library. Yay. She hasn't been here. It's been about 6 months, I guess. Love Elizabeth. she is one of those people that also keeps me on track. She's like, "Are you sure that that's right?" And I'm like, "You're telling me it's wrong, aren't you?" She's like, "Gently, gently, I'm doing that." Anyway, so very, very happy to have someone help me out on the team with that. But where is the, you know what? I'm just gonna, so everything happens for a reason, and other lies I've told myself. So Kate Bowler is a Duke University theology person, works in that department, professor. That's the word, professor, who specializes in the gospel of wealth, studying the history of the gospel of wealth, which is basically like, if I dream it, and if I'm good, and if I pray hard enough, good things will happen to me. I'm simplifying it, but that's the gospel of wealth. So she specializes in this history, and when she had a stage 4, I think, pancreatic cancer diagnosis, she realized that even though she'd never ascribed explicitly to the gospel of wealth, that we all have a little bit of it kind of inside of us. So I wanted to sort of round out the sort of like go get 'emness of all of these motivational reads by saying, like, you may find yourself in a situation where this book is more appropriate, right? Where you have different kinds of questions, and maybe just getting through it is not going to be quite enough. So Kate Bowler's book might be for you. So Elizabeth says it's really hard hitting, especially at first, because it touches on some tough subjects of grief and questioning faith. But I found it helpful as someone who needed to hear their own thoughts repeated by someone else, right? Just that affirmation. I'm going to go over and see if anybody's chatting with me. Not at the moment. Okay. And I thought that was really, see, this is what I'm saying. I just said inspirational, motivational, and this is what I got back, is these really great gems. I mean, it's a great book. It's a bestseller, but it has that sort of, it's often associated with, what's the breath, when breath becomes air? When Breath Becomes Air, which I read a while ago. Also a really good one. Very intelligent person facing their own mortality in poignant ways. He's a doctor. I've forgotten his last name. It starts with a G. And she is an academic. So it does have kind of an academic turn in it. So she's going to talk a lot about the gospel of wealth and how it has affected and mingled with the sort of American individualism. But I think that it also gives you kind of like a step back. You can kind of step back and say, when does my insistence on I can do anything become unhealthy, right? And that's also important, right? To have those kinds of perspectives. So the next one, this is my final book. And this was one of my favorite books of 2019. It's Marianne Powers' Help Me. And she writes for sort of magazines like Cosmo style magazines. She's Irish, and that's kind of her job, as this freelance, free spirit kind of person. And she thinks, okay, I'm going to start a project. I'm going to do a different self-help, I guess, area every month of the year. So she does Facing Your Fears, and she reads books about facing your fears. And we all read them, right? We all read, these are the 12 steps to facing your fears. And then we don't do them. She does them, like jumping out of planes, hugging the trees, screaming at the forest, crying in yoga, lots of hugging of things, just hugs all sorts of things. Fly to Australia to listen to do this empowerment seminar and thumping music and raves and all. I mean, she does everything it tells her to do. So she does it with multiple different kinds of systems for finding your truth or whatever. And it's, so she starts, it's like January, great. February, not so great. You'll see why. That's a particular sticking point. February, not so great. Now it's really great. Now it's not so great. Now it's really great. And then it's just this hard crash, and it just dissolves. And just, oh man, it's just a crash and burn. It's just a dumpster fire. It's so bad. And you don't think that. When you start out, you're like, oh, she's going to face her fears. And you get to the end and you're like, she's destroyed her life. And I think that's, it has this really nice sort of wrap up. Basically, the lesson is, if you spend too much time navel gazing, you will fall into the endless pit that is your navel. And that's really what Marianne Power walks away with. It sort of wraps up nicely. She's very funny. But it was a nice reminder as someone who reads these sort of get your habits together and everything will be, and then you need to Marie Kondo your life. All my closets are done now. I don't have any more closets to do that to. And then it will be great. And this sort of frenzy of it'll be great and you did it and now what's next. Marianne Power kind of helped me sort of back up and be like more systems for managing your fears in your life, and hugging things is not a great way to spend your time. So I just wanted to wrap up this motivational inspirational by saying all of these books are fantastic and I would recommend them emphatically, and just pick one and walk away. And don't feel like you're obligated to that book. It's a book. It's probably a library book. Just bring it back in 2 weeks. And we'll find you books until you find the one that you love, right? But to not take it all so seriously and to put so much on your shoulders. We're all just trying to get through, right? So 2021, you're going to own it. You're going to grapple it. It's going to bend to your whims, and if it doesn't, that's okay too. All right. Just join us for, let me actually go back through all OBS. My software is making it fadey. Okay, I just went back. Oh, okay, thank you. To just hang out with us during this. If you're feeling lonely, feeling like I want to do something, I want to get out, I'm here for you. I like hanging out with you. Come hang out with me more. I'll be at the vision board. I'll actually kind of be at all these events in the background. So I will see you there. And yeah, happy goal setting. All right. And keep reading. I think I'm not sure how to turn off the stream. I found the button. Keep reading. Bye.